Join our pack. Subscribe to start your adventure. Part 11. The past. There you go. Good as new. Don't forget to exercise and take your pills, Lucy said as she discharged me from the pack hospital. Honey, I think we all heard the procedure. There is no need to repeat it, right, Lily? Hannah said with a motherly smile. Mom, I'm just making sure so that you guys don't mix up the meds like last time, Lucy said while looking at Max, who rolled his eyes at her. Honey, it happened once and your brother apologized for it, she said with a giggle. It was agreed that I would stay with Hannah for a while until I could be officially introduced to the pack. Hannah's home was so beautiful. She was a busy woman spending most of her time at the bakery, which was a very famous one across the pack. I was interested in knowing more about it because I was going to start working there with her. The plan was to expand and make it a CF, hence why my request was granted. But months later, Max just told me guests were visiting the pack. Hannah and Max wanted to host them at his mother's house, and I decided to lend a helping hand. It was almost 8 at night when Max arrived with the guests. I tried to go and greet him with a kiss on the cheek like I usually did, but he stopped me with a show of hand. I didn't understand, but didn't question him either. There was a man who entered the room along with 2 more and a very beautiful woman, who was later introduced to us as Velma, the daughter of the alpha from the neighboring pack. We sat and ate silently until the man broke the silence. Kana, you have a very beautiful home. When I heard that your son hadn't found a mate, I knew the moon goddess made this plan for us. He wanted our children to unite us. I can assure you that this union will make us unstoppable. I was trying to understand what he was talking about but failed. Everything became clear when my eyes fell on Velma. The way she was looking at Max with lust made my eyes go wide. I felt a hand on my thigh, and when I turned I saw it was Max's. He was not looking at me. He squeezed lightly. I remained in my seat trying not to lose my mind. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I'm very sure that we can come to an understanding that will benefit us both without forcing anyone into a relationship. Don't you think? Hannah asked. I saw the man tremble with rage. What my mother is saying is, give us time to know each other, and if we enjoy each other's company, then we will proceed with the next step, Max said in a rush as if he was worried that something would happen. I would love that, Dad. Can I stay in Riverfall for some time and learn more about Max? Velma spoke for the first time. I wished to find something wrong with her, but there wasn't. She was a true definition of perfection, and to some extent, I understood why her father thought her mating Max would be a great choice. They are both good, looking and powerful. Very well. 1 month. Then we meet and decide, he said, standing up. I remained on the table as Max and Hannah walked them out. Lily, are you okay? He asked with worry. Are you going to accept her as your mate? I mean, I would understand. She is beautiful and everything, Illuma should be, I said, looking at my fingers, trying my best not to cry in front of him and his mother. Baby, you are the only one that I want. I promise you that, he said, then pulled me in a hug, making me smile. I love you, Max, I said with a smile. I love you too, Lily. More than anything, he said, looking into my eyes. Okay, you too. Either get a room or help me clean this table. Your choice, Hannah said, making me giggle. We helped her clean the table and then washed the dishes when the dining room and kitchen were spotless. Max walked me to my bedroom. He sat on the bed waiting for me as I took a shower and then got dressed in my pajamas. Those are cute, he complimented me when I walked out of the bathroom. Thank you. Lucy bought them for me, I said, avoiding his eyes. Come here. I want to feel the fabric, he said, offering me his hand. By the time I discovered what he really meant, I was already trapped on his lap. You tricked me, I said with a laugh. But I got a kiss on the lips as a reply. It was supposed to be innocent, but something inside me just snapped and I found myself on top of him, sucking his neck and making him groan in pleasure. Lily, stop. Are you sure about this? He asked, searching my eyes for any sign of doubt, and when he didn't find any, he pulled back and allowed me to take control of his body. I didn't know what to do at first, so he helped me out until I felt in a rhythm that he licked as I rode him until my body gave up. The pleasure was out of this world. All I knew was, I wanted more of him. Hey, are you okay? he asked as I snuggled into him even more. He laughed, making me smile. That tickles Lydia's laugh was the most amazing sound I had ever heard. I like your laugh, I said, making his expression turn serious. I love you, Lee. And everything about you. Including the snoring part. The last part caught me off guard, making him laugh even harder. I don't snore. Right. You're kidding, right? My nervousness made him laugh even more. I tried to pull away, pretending to be mad at him, but he held me in place. I'm kidding, baby. You don't snore, but I do love everything about you, and I want to be with you forever, he said, making me smile. I was happy. I finally found my happy ending. I snuggled into him, trying my best to hold on to him as he complained that I was suffocating him. Part 12. The past. It has been 3 weeks since I saw Max. I honestly thought things would be better because of the night that we had and the confessions we made to each other. Something told me to be positive. I was mated to an alpha, a title that came with a lot of responsibilities, so I decided to do something that I'd never thought of doing. Visit him at his office. I made lunch for him. Potatoes and steak. I made sure to look pretty. Where are you going, Lee? Hannah asked while I was walking out. I'm going to see Max. I deliver his lunch, I said with a smile, which she returned. That's cute. Cast by the orphanage after so that we return home together, she said, and I nodded in agreement. I took a car and drove to the pack house. The pack house was very busy, like they were preparing the place for something. I spotted Max's beta and approached him, hoping that he could help me since I'd never been to the pack house. Hey, Arthur. I greeted him. His eyes went wide and a smile decorated his face. Hey, Lily. How are you? What are you doing here? He asked, sounding nervous. I came to see Max. Can you take me to him? I asked and watched his nervousness increase. Does he know that you're coming? He asked while looking everywhere, but at me. No, I just brought him lunch. It's a surprise. I won't take long, I said, realizing that it was probably wrong of me to assume he would be willing to intervene with his alpha's schedule for me. You could just tell me where his office is and no one will have to know. I just haven't seen him in a while, that's all I pleaded, and I saw guilt in his eyes, making me know that I got this in the bag. It's okay. I will take you to him. Follow me, he said, making me smile and follow him eagerly. We went up the stairs. It was a 3-story house and his office was on the very top floor. There is his office, he said, pointing at the door that was at the end of the hallway. Thank you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing enthusiasm. I owe you one, I said, pulling him for a hug and then walking to Max's office without waiting for his answer. Surprise, I said while opening the door without knocking, only to find Velma straddling him, her lips on his neck with his hands on her waist. The shock on his face made my heart break into pieces. Oh, hi, Lee, Velma said cheerfully as she got out of his lap like it was a normal thing to do. You brought lunch. Amazing. How did you know? Oh, goddess. It's steak and potatoes. How awesome is this, she said after taking the basket from my hands and opening it. Tears started falling from my eyes. I swallowed hard while walking backward, my eyes not looking anywhere but at Max's. I've been crying for hours. Hannah tried asking me what was wrong, but I couldn't say anything. How could I? Lily, what is wrong? Mother said you have been crying for hours. Talk to us. Do you want us to call Max? Lucy asked, starting a mind link. No, please don't. Not Max. Please, that was all I could say. She looked shocked but didn't say a thing as she walked out of my room. They left me alone for a few hours. And when night came, Lucy walked into my room with painkillers and a glass of water. I don't know what Max did, but I don't like seeing you like this, Lily. I wish you could talk to me, she said, but I pretended to be asleep. She put the meds on the bedside table and left. I jolted awake, my hand falling on my abdomen. The pain was excruciating. I screamed right when the door burst open. What's wrong? Goddess. You're burning up. Mum, we need to take her to the hospital, Lucy said, while pulling me up, carrying me like I weighed nothing. The keys, Mum, she said, rushing to her car. Hannah hurried and switched on the car. All I could do was hold on to the place that brought me so much pain. Lily, Show me where it hurts, Lucy instructed me as she placed me on the hospital bed. Just when I was about to tell her, the pain struck again, making me sit up, crunching my hands below my belly, hoping that it would make the pain go away, but all I could do was scream. Make it go away. Please, I said between my sobbing. When no one replied, I looked up and found Lucy fuming while Hannah was in tears with one hand covering her mouth and the other on her stomach. I'm so sorry, Lee. I can't do this. Hannah kept repeating the same words while walking backwards until she was out of the room. I turned to Lucy, my eyes begging for an explanation. Lucy, what is happening? Am I dying? I asked her, and instead of answering, she pulled me in a hug. You're not dying. I promise you. I will fix this. I promise you, she said with determination, and I felt believing her without saying a word. I honestly thought you'd be different. You know what? I can't either. You look at you right now. What do you want? I heard Lucy ask. I was still at the hospital, my back facing them. I decided to pretend I was still sleeping to see how the conversation will end. Lucy, I don't want to fight with you, Max said, his voice breaking. Oh really? Did you think about that when you were busy sleeping with someone else while your wolf already met his mate? She asked with anger dominating her voice. What do you mean? Max asked, sounding lost. She made an evil chuckle. What kind of alpha are you? You have no clue, do you? She asked with shock. There was silence, then a release of breath. Max, when our wolves meet and connect with their mates, they build a protective barrier that allow the mate to feel what the other feel, including betrayal, she explained, making me brace myself, because I had a feeling I knew where this was going. Part 13. The past. Lucy, you're not making any sense, Max said, but he was pounding as if he already knew what she was going to say next. That mark on your neck tells me otherwise. She is here because of you. You claimed Velma, didn't you? He asked, making me gasp. Fuck. Lily. Did you? How much did you hear? Lucy asked, looking at me with guilt. The tears in my eyes gave her the answer. I'm sorry, Lee. I didn't want you to find out this way, Max said, looking me in the eyes. I didn't reply. I turned to Lucy, who was looking at me with worry. Will I be going through the pain every time they sleep? They sleep together? I asked with a shaky voice. Yes, well, it can only end if... She didn't finish. She turned to look at Max, who was panting. Lucy, don't, he said, then a tear fell from his eye. You lost here. You did this, she said, then turned to me and came closer. You can reject him as your mate, she said, looking into my eyes. Lily, you don't have to, baby. I'm sorry. We can still make this work. I promise you, he said, going on his knees. You promise? As if you have done a good job keeping the ones you already made. Lucy, tell me what to do, I said, turning to Lucy. Just mention your name in full and then say that you reject Max Donovan as your mate, she said, and in a second she was thrown to the other side of the room, falling unconscious. You will not reject me. Lily, you're mine. It was Hunter. His wolf. I thought I would be afraid when I saw black eyes again, but being with Max gave me time to warm up to his werewolf too. He was always nice to me. Hunter, you have someone else's mark, I said while more tears came down my cheeks. His face softened while his hand went through his mark. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't want this. I want you, and Max knows that, he said, bowing his head in shame. Then why did you let him? I asked, and instead of answering me, he looked conflicted. Tell me the truth, Hunter, I demanded, raising my voice higher than normal. It caught him by surprise. They don't want you as their Luna, he said with a calmer voice, and that was when I knew Hunter couldn't face me, so he gave control back to Max. Who Arthur and the rest of the pack? Have you not noticed how no one has ever called you Luna? Coming to think of it, no one ever did. I thought it was because you haven't marked me yet, I said in a whisper, but I knew it was pointless. Cyrus came because Arthur told him that the pack needed a Luna worthy of our pack, he explained, walking towards me. They all pretended to like me. It was all a lie. They were mocking me. It hurt to the core. I felt the sparks on my hand, and they brought me back to reality. You can reject me, he said, avoiding my eyes. What? I asked, hoping that my ears were deceiving me. I love you, Lily. I love you so much, but I also love my pack and I can't away from them. These are my people, Lily. Do you understand what is at stake from my end? He asked, looking up to meet my eyes, but it was my time to look away. I know if the roles were reversed then you would have left everything for me, but then again, you are alone. I have my mum and Lucy to think about. We would be rogues because no one would accept an alpha who chose himself over his pack to be a member in their territories, he pleaded, making me sob even harder. I was so stupid to think that I would get a life in a pack of werewolves. I mean, there are other humans in Riverfall, but none of them had a tainted past like the one I had. I understand. I let him a clean. Reject Max Donovan as my mate. I felt my chest tighten. Max's eyes met mine and another tear escaped his eye. I Max Donovan. Accept your rejection. The moment he finished his sentence I felt like my heart was being pulled out of my chest. Max pulled me in a bear hug as I screamed in pain. I know he was feeling it too with the way he was holding on to me and groaned. What's going on? I heard Lucy ask while out of breath as if she just ran miles on. I will give you 2 minutes, she said, and yet none of us answered. In time the pain started to disappear. When he pulled back it was dark outside. I wondered how long we had been standing for. All I could focus on was the sadness on Max's face as well as the pain that I was seeing in his eyes. Are you okay? He asked me, making me feel even more broken. I'll be okay, you. I asked, inspecting his face. A face that I thought I would hold forever, but sadly that was not going to be the case. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Guys, I'm sorry but the Velma is going nuts looking for you, and I don't know how long I can cover for you, Lucy said, walking into the hospital room. I don't want to leave you, he whispered, making me look into his eyes. I wanted to cry. Maybe that way he could know the pain I was feeling, but there were no more tears left. You have to. I will be okay. Go, I said, pushing him away. He resisted at first until Lucy came closer. I will always love you, Lily. Always, he said right before walking out of the room. Look, it's not safe for you here anymore. Once Max introduces her as the Luna, you will need to leave. Max and I will help you get settled somewhere and find a job, okay? Lucy said while helping me get dressed, but all I could think about was how unfair life was. Part 14. The past. I've been kept in Hannah's house for almost 2 weeks. I was sitting in my room when Max walked in with a man I'd never seen before and told me to start packing. So I did. Lucy also came and helped me put my bags in the car. He told me not to speak to anyone because Velma had spies who were following me. In beginning, she was questioning Max, wanting to know who I was, and since his mother suggested we don't tell her the truth, Max decided it was better if he avoided coming to the house with her. It made her less suspicious until Arthur decided to tell her that I was the fated Luna. She got so angry and told Max to get rid of me, but he couldn't. He was still trying to contact his friend called Samuel Orwa without luck until a few days ago. He could not come to the pack grounds because he was a vampire, so we had to go meet him somewhere far from the pack. Lily, take this phone. I'll be calling you in it, okay? I need you to promise me that you'll do exactly what Samuel tells you to do, Max said, then pulled me in a hug before I could answer. Max, they have to go, Lucy said while wiping her tears away. Hannah hugged me as well. My number's in there too. Please call me as well. I love you, sweetie, she said while hugging me for the last time. Max made sure to kiss my temple before I entered the car. The man who drove me remained silent, so I decided to fall asleep. Miss Lily. We hear the man woke me up when I looked around. I saw that we were outside a diner. I tried looking around, but there was nothing out of the ordinary. It's a neutral territory. Humans and supernaturals are allowed to roam the city as they please, he explained. Ronald. We knew there was no way someone from App would betray the Luna, but I guess we forgot that her rejected mate Woodham I once saw the pack house said with so much hatred, making me wonder if I ever did anything to offend him. Gamma. Let her go. She has done nothing to you, Ronald said while leaving the car. That's not going to happen. As long as she's around, our Luna will always have a target on her back. Take her. He instructed someone, and suddenly the door was opened. I was pulled out of the car. You can do whatever you want with her. Just make sure you kill her once you're done, he told the men who looked at me with excitement. I screamed, but no one came to help me. Those who saw us ran in different directions. I watched as Ronald tried to fight them, but they slit his throat and left him for dead while they put me in a truck with a blindfold on. "Wake up, gorgeous," one of the men said as they strapped me on a table. I looked up and saw that we were at an abandoned warehouse. I was bent over on the table with my hands strapped to the bottom of it. I was strapped to the table legs tied to the table legs that were closer to me without any clothes on. I couldn't scream because my mouth was covered with duct tape. "We're going to enjoy this," one of them said as he approached the table. I tried moving, hoping it would loosen the ropes, but nothing happened. I tried screaming, but it did nothing. All one could hear were evil laughs and the sounds of zippers being opened. They took turns thrusting into me, releasing their semen in me, and all I could do was cry until my body gave up. I was hanging on the table only because the ropes were still intact, on the verge of giving into the darkness. I heard car brakes at the front of the warehouse. "Did you tell anyone that we were coming here?" they asked each other. "Hell no. Go check it out. It's probably police patrol," one of them said as they got dressed. The door busted open and men wearing black hoodies entered. They were moving so fast that I could barely see them. In mere seconds, the men who were taking advantage of me were lifeless on the ground. "Check if we have missed anyone," one of them said, then turned to me. "Lily, it's going to be okay," he said sweetly as he untied me. They covered me up with his jacket. The last thing I saw before closing my eyes was his red ones. "He wants to talk to you. It's the third day and the routine is always the same. Max calls Samuel in the morning to check on me and me refusing to talk to him. I'm scared that his pack would find out and hunt me down and kill me." "Your enthusiasm, look, man. Why don't you give her some space?" "I know. But we just got back from the hospital and she's still not there yet." "I know. I will," Samuel said, then hung up. "They're worried about you, Lily," he said, sitting on the edge of the bed. I was still afraid to open up because I knew the moment I did, history will repeat itself. "Look, I've seen a lot of crap in my days and Max helped me through most of them, even though he was not allowed to help me. Whatever he did, please look past it because I know you mean a lot to him, otherwise he wouldn't be this persistent, so give him a chance. He never changes his mind, so you might as well talk to him because he'll never stop blowing my phone," he said. About to. He stood for a minute as if he got an idea. "You know what? I'm going to leave this phone with you and get another one. That way he continues to annoy you more than me." "I'm a genius," he said with a huge smile, making me laugh. "Oh, I get it. You're one of those, huh?" he said with amusement. "Who?" I asked in a whisper. "Oh, she talks." "What? Oh," he said dramatically, and at that point, I knew that Samuel and I were going to be awesome friends. Part 15 Eric's POV. What the hell? I was not expecting that. I looked at Lily, who had no idea that she was crying while telling me about her past, and all I could think of was how she was able to survive this long. I've seen pack members do crazy shit to their own gazer, and most of them died because they couldn't endure the torture and pain. Yet here she was my mate, a human, and if someone was to tell you she went through all that, you wouldn't believe her because she looked happy. She was practically glowing when I laid eyes on her at Olympus. Before I could process my actions, I pulled her to my chest and hugged her as tight as I could, hoping that she would feel how important she was to me. I didn't know what I was expecting when she told me she wanted to talk. I thought she would start telling me that she was not enough for me because she was human. I even prepared myself on how I would say romantic shit, and she would fall for it just like Natalie told me. Girls love a romantic guy. So when you meet her, make sure you say she's beautiful. Yep, I remember the pep talk as if it happened yesterday. "Derek, she needs us more than we thought," my dragon said. "I know, buddy. Are you even cut out for this? I think we should let's take this one," my vampire said, making me roll my eyes at him. "I'm game if you are," my werewolf said, making me release a breath. The act made Lily pull back and sniff, trying to avoid my eyes, but I didn't let her. I turned her beautiful chubby face to me and wiped her tears away. "I ruined your shirt," she said, trying to dry it with her tiny hand. "Man, she has amazing fingers. Imagine having those around our comb." "Shut up, Renzo," I hissed at my vampire. "Sorry, you better be. Are you okay? Your eyes keep changing like something is wrong. Are you mind linking someone?" she asked, inspecting my eyes. "No, don't worry about it." One of my beasts got a little excited. That's all. My answer made her eyes even bigger, and they were the cutest things I have ever seen. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, hearts out thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She asked, and I realized she probably never met a hybrid before. Well, yes, I'm a hybrid. And so is Eric, I explained, and I knew I just created more questions than answers, so I smiled. Thank you for telling me about your past, Lily. It means a lot to me that you trust me with that kind of information, I said, holding on to her hands, admiring how perfectly they fit into mine. So can we do it now? She asked with a shaky voice. Do what? I asked, not knowing what she meant. The rejection process. I mean, Derek, you're a prince. You can't be with someone like me, it's not good for your image, she said, trying to pull her hands away from me. It made me chuckle. Lily, why would I do that? I asked, hoping that she had another valid explanation that I could work with. Because I'm broken. I'm not good for you, she said, looking genuinely confused. Listen to me, and listen to me very well, little one. I don't care what other people think about you. What I care about is you, my mate. If anyone tells me to choose between the pack and you, I want you to know that I will choose you in a heartbeat. I've waited for you for 300 years. And I'm not about to lose you because of an ugly past or something that you had absolutely no control over. Enthusiasm, in my eyes you're perfect, and again I won't lose you. Not now, not ever. The moon goddess gave me you for a reason, and I will not refuse her gift even if you begged me to. You got that? I said, looking at her. She was looking at me like I grew to heads. You're 300 years old? She asked, making me chuckle. Well, oh, that's the only part that she caught, so much for romantic stuff. Yes, is that a deal breaker, little one? I teased, making her furrow her brows. No, it's just weird, you look young to me, she said, inspecting my tattoos. Good. Let's get you to bed, I said, standing up while pulling her up with me. We walked back to the castle quietly. I thought of how I was going to do everything in my power to make her happy. It excited me. But first things first. I had to take her to Olympus, then shopping, and definitely get her a phone. After taking a shower, I felt her side of the bed dip, which made me turn to look at her as she slept nervously. I pulled her to my chest, feeling the sparks. And my beast spurred. Derek. She called my name in the most soothing voice ever. Yes. I'm scared, she said, making me pull back enough to lift her chin so that I could see her face. Why, little one? I asked, hoping to see the answers through her eyes. Because Max chose his pack over me. He didn't want to, but he had to. For his mother and sister. Even though I don't blame him. It still hurts that he didn't pick me, you know, she said with too much sadness. I hated seeing her that way. She needs to forget about him. Renzo stated the obvious, making Spike huff in annoyance, something he always did when Renzo said something stupid. Look, how about we forget about the past and just focus on the here and now, huh? Let's just pretend that you didn't go through anything and I'm just a 40-year-old who fell in love with a very curvy bartender from Olympus. Do we have a deal, little one? I asked with a huge smile, hoping that she would agree and finally give me a chance to make her happy. She looked like she was trying to analyze the deal, with her brows furrowed and her nose twitching. I really don't know, because it's hard to forget 300 years just like that, she said with a mischievous smile which surprised me but made me laugh at the same time. I think Millie will be proud of my accomplishment. Part 16. Lily, wake up. It's just a dream, little one. Wake up. I opened my eyes to find Derek shaking my body. It was still dark outside, which surprised me. What's going on? You were screaming in your sleep, Lily. And you're sweating like crazy, he said, while wiping the sweat away from my forehead. I guess I was having a nightmare. I can't remember anything, I said, getting out of bed. I was feeling so hot that I had to take a shower. He watched me silently as I went to the bathroom. I opened the shower tap to release cold water, enjoying how it felt against my skin. Then suddenly there was a piece of cloth being dragged from my shoulder to my back in a relaxing manner. I turned to see Derek. His face had no emotion, but I was thankful for that and hoped that he would still be there for me if the nightmares continued. He cleaned me, then wrapped me in a towel while leading me to the closet where he dressed me in one of his shirts. The moment I smelled the rainy forest, my body relaxed, making me look at him with curiosity. It earned me a smile. A mate's scent and touch can cure anxiety and make you feel like a new person. I figured since you feel the sparks to then my scent might be able to do the trick. I'm glad to see that my instincts were correct, he said, trying to tie my curly hair in a bun but failing miserably. Thank you for the effort, I said, taking a hairband from my bag and putting it on my wrist. He watched as I collected my hair with one hand and held it with the other that had a hairband on it. In seconds my crazy hair was under control. I think I got it. I'm doing your hair tomorrow, he said with excitement. I replied with a nod as he pulled me to the bedroom. I hesitated for a while, making him turn to look at me. What? Oblivious to the fact that he only had boxers on. My eyes went to his waist. Oh shit. I'm sorry, he said, rushing back to the drawers and pulling out some pants. Ready? I'm not putting a shirt on. This is compromising a lot considering I prefer sleeping naked, he said while pulling me between the sheets. I woke up with my nose in a rainy forest. Yes, super rainy and addictive. I rubbed my nose on the forest again and it moaned. Why would a forest moan? I opened my eyes and I was in the crock of Derek's neck. His hands were caging me in a bear hug that made me disappear in his chest. It was a very cozy position. There was a knock on the door that made me want to pull back, but I couldn't. He was that heavy. The door busted open and someone entered. They pulled the sheets away and took a picture of us. Oh my goddess. They look so cute, someone said, happily waking Derek in the process. What the hell? He complained, then pulled me into him even more. Derek, it's almost noon. She must be hungry. Take her to the kitchen and feed her. Chop chop, Natalie said while rubbing her belly. She would have told me if she did, he defended himself. You're suffocating her. How could she talk? Chris said, making him look at me with a smile. I am kinda hungry, I said with a smile. Okay then, he agreed, then got out of bed. Oh my. What a nice sleeping attire you have there, Natalie said, when Chris got out of the room and I had to wake up. I ran to the closet and put on some leggings while Derek made the bed. He wasn't going to put a shirt on, I guess. I was able to see the tattoos that decorated his upper body, making me admire them. I was definitely going to look at them closely later. Okay, ladies. Lead the way, he said, holding the door open for us. Natalie walked out and I followed right behind her. Where's Eric? He asked as we were having brunch. In a meeting. The bear tribe is still having issues with the hunters, Natalie answered with her eyes not leaving the bowl of fruits. I don't know why we bother, the hunters will never stop. We should just hunt them down and kill them where they are, Derek said, shocking me to my core. I wondered how many people he had killed. Little one. I'm a warrior. It's my job to protect you, and most of the time protecting requires killing, he said, making me swallow hard. I don't kill innocent people. I promise, he assured me. Although it didn't make me feel better. It made me feel some sort of relief. I want you to escort me somewhere. Do you feel up to it? Derek asked when we returned to our room and got dressed. Yes, I agreed without asking where we were going. We went to the garage, which had 10 luxurious cars. He unlocked a truck that was at the very end of the line and helped me in it. As he drove us out of the premises, 2 cars joined us. The same ones that he was with the day I met him. They're for security. Not that I need them, but it's kind of a rule that Eric put in place. I'm not allowed to go anywhere without my security detail. To think that I'm their captain so they would listen to me. I tried talking them out of it, but they all pretended to be deaf. So in time I learned to live with it, he explained, reaching for my hand while his other one remained on the steering wheel. This is nice, he said when I pulled his hand between mine and placed it on my thigh. Lily, can I ask you something? He asked, not looking away from the road. Yes, I replied, not knowing what was coming next. Do you still have feelings for Max? He asked, and it surprised me, so I remained silent, to figure out what to say. He tried to pull his hand away, but I held it in place now. I moved on a long time ago, I said, and watched as his face lit up. Part 17, oh my god. Thank you, I said excitedly as he parked the car outside Olympus. It was broad daylight, but I knew Samuelins are still there. They usually stay till 2 p.m. to sort out the books before the next crazy night. I got out of the car in a hurry and ran to the back door. The security didn't bother stopping me because they knew who I was. I rushed to Zeus' office where I found them finishing up the ledgers. Samuel said just before I jumped on him, making Zeus laugh. How did you get here? Wait a minute, he said, pulling back just in time for security to call Zeus and inform him there were guests that wanted to enter the building. He brought me here. We're good now, I said, and he nodded his head in approval. Let them through. Led them to my office, he said, and hung up. So, is he really your mate? Zeus asked with a raised brow. Yes, he's surprised as I am. A human has never had a second chance mate before, so yeah. Here we are, I explained as Samuel and I sat on the sofa that was in the office. The door was opened and Derek entered. Zeus, Derek. After the awkward greeting, he turned to me and Samuel. I'm sorry for choking you, he said to Samuel, who stood up and approached him. When he was close enough, he offered his hand for a shake, which Derek accepted. She told you everything? He asked him, looking into his eyes. Yes, Derek answered shortly. And Samuel asked, still holding onto his hand. Doesn't change anything, Derek replied. Good, Samuel said and pulled back. He came to sit with me as Zeus led Derek to the bar. How are you doing though? Have you met the Alpha King yet? He asked with a smile. Yes, he's Derek's older brother, so I was bound to meet him at some point, I said, shrugging my shoulders. What? He's the prince? He asked, sounding surprised. What? You didn't know? I asked with confusion because I thought everyone knew who Derek was. Well, no. We all know that they're close because he's the captain of the so-called super soldiers, but not the Alpha King's brother. I guess that explains how his opinion is usually the most important one. Even more important than the royal beta, sounding excited like he just discovered something for the first time. I'm lost, Samuel. I tried to make a point that I did not share his enthusiasm. Look. The structure of this is simple. All the supernaturals are under the rule of the Alpha King. Your brother-in-law. Under him there is supposed to be the royal beta, was supposed to be Derek. But there were rumors that he refused the title, saying that he would serve the crown better as a warrior. It was a noble option, but how can one command a warrior that is powerful as the king himself? So the Alpha King created the royal guard, and gave his younger brother the power to lead and train them as their captain. Does it make sense now? He said with a huge smile on his face. Can you tell me more about the structure? I mean, who comes after who? I asked, noticing how curious I was also getting. Oh, I forget you are human sometimes. Based on what you just told me, this is how it goes. There is the Alpha King who rules us all. Then the prince, your mate, and the royal beta now. After the royal beta you will have alphas who oversee different packs and different supernaturals. Due to the huge population of werewolves, they have alphas looking after different packs. They are identified by the pack names and they report to the royal beta. The rest of us, we have only one alpha and we can live wherever we want as long as we abide by the rules given by our alpha, he said, looking at me, waiting for me to ask another question. So, who is the alpha of the vampires? I asked and he smirked as if I was supposed to know, but nothing clicked. He ran his palm over his face, releasing a breath. You are such a blonde. It's Zeus, he said, and realization struck me. We had always been giving refuge to vampires at Olympus, and Olympus are for vampires, and they were never charged. I even saw some coming to ask for allowances to start living independently. The respect they had for Zeus was just another level. They practically cowered away from him every time he was around. What, oh, I guess I am a blonde, huh? I said with a smile. Is that why he said I was under his protection? I asked and he nodded in agreement. That's just crazy, I had, making him laugh. I know, but what is even crazier is, I found my mate right after you left. She was the girl Zeus employed to cover for you. Can you believe it? Look, he said, opening the gallery app on his phone to show me photos of her. She was so beautiful and looked so happy in Samuel's arms. She is so beautiful. What's her name? I asked and watched as his red eyes glow, no doubt excited to tell me more about her. Isabella. Her name is Isabella and she's just perfect, he said, looking at his phone. Put that phone away, you look like a sick puppy. No offense, Derek, Zeus said, walking into the office with a drink in his hand. We'll see if you won't be this way when you find your mate genius, he mocked and locked his phone. Wanna go make some cocktails like old times? Samuel asked me while wiggling his brows. You know, I can't say no to that. Let's go, I said excitedly. As we stood up, Derek pulled me to his chest and kissed my temple, then pulled back and returned his focus to Zeus. I have a feeling things will be different with him, Samuel said as we reached the bar and started washing our hands. You got all that from a kiss on my temple. I teased, but when I turned his face was serious. Thank you, Samuel. I hope you're right, I said and threw a towel at him, which he caught with ease as usual. Part 18. Bella said while spitting out the drink, making me and Samuel laugh. I liked the blue one and with the pomegranate, she said, returning to the 2 glasses she described. What's happening here? Zeus asked with a smirk. Just trying some stuff these geniuses are making. A heads up. Don't drink the black one. It's poisonous, Isabella said between laughs, making us roll our eyes. You're just jealous back, Samuel said, making her blush. I want to try it, Derek said, sitting right in front of me. I poured the mixture for him and Zeus and waited for their facial expression. I think we need a bottle just to be sure, Zeus said, and Derek nodded his head yes. Samuel said, giving me a high five. I think you can't serve this to a lady. It's more of a man's cocktail. We like bitter stuff and I think you should add it to the menu, Zeus said, looking at his younger brother like he was a genius. I'm hungry. Can you tell the kitchen to bring us some food, Derek? Samuel asked Isabella, who ran to the kitchen quickly. I like it, I said, looking at Samuel. I know, right? As a matter of fact. Typical Samuel. What about you? Excited to find your mate too? I asked. Usa ended up choking on his drink. Fuck, Lily. You want to kill me that bad? He said, making Derek laugh. Having a mate is not that bad, man. I think you should start searching for her, Derek chipped in, but Zeus still remained quiet. We ate the amazing burgers from the Olympus kitchen and they were as delicious as I remembered. When the club was about to be open, someone linked Derek and we had to leave. I said goodbye to Sammy and Isabella, making sure I took their numbers this time around. The act made Derek promise to buy me a new phone. Is everything okay? I asked when I realized that he was in a hurry. Yeah. I have to take you back to the royal pack, then head to the bears' territory. They're under attack and I need to go help them, he explained, but that didn't make sense. How far is it from here? I asked, turning to look at him properly. 30 minutes, and no, I'm not taking you with me. I need you safe at the castle, he said, holding onto my hand. Come on, Derek. If you take me to the castle then go back, you'll be too late. I'll stay in the car and listen to whatever you say, I pleaded. He looked like he was linking someone, then made a U-turn. You will stay in the car until I come to get you myself. Understood, he demanded, and I agreed. He drove even faster and suddenly stopped at what looked like a dense forest. He kissed my temple and then got out of the car. But it made it easy for me to see outside. They stood in a line and listened attentively as Derek gave instructions. 2 of them came and stood next to the truck I was in. The rest started running in the forest with Derek leading them. All I could do was wish for him to be safe. It's been hours and I was starting to worry. There was a sound outside the car like something just landed from a tree. One of the guards' heads was smashed into the front mirror, making me scream. The other was knocked out. The person outside the car walked around it until he was right on the other side of my door. I closed my eyes and hoped that they wouldn't open, but all that was in vain as they ripped the door off and I was pulled out. What do we have here? A human in the Royal Guard's car? A man asked while turning me to the group that was behind him. Why are you in the royal convoy? A man who looked like their leader asked me. He had a scar on his face that looked hideous. Speak, he shouted, making me flinch. I don't know what you're talking about, I said, making him slap me. Did that jog your memory? He asked, but I didn't say a word. Search the perimeter. See if there are more of them, he commanded. The rest disappeared into the forest while he remained with me. They tied my hands on my back and put me on the ground. They took the bait, all went to the pack house. Should we proceed to the Alpha's house? Based on the intel we got, all prisoners are usually kept in the barn, one of them said. Yes, let's go and bring her with us. I have a feeling she is more than just a human, here he said, looking at me with curiosity. There was chaos in the distance as we walked to a farmhouse that was a few kilometers away from the chaos. They covered my mouth with tape and pulled me in. They started lighting the way with some fancy flashlights. They were different because every time they were pointed at supernatural their skin would burn, but it did nothing to a human. There were like 40 humans in the cells. They directed them toward the way we came from. I stood and watched as the last one was carried out. He was unconscious and, by the way, he was being carried. He looked important to them. Is he alive? The scarred man asked one of the people carrying the man. Yes, he is. The boss is one tough nut to crack, they confirmed, and that is when I saw that it was Killian Knight. Good. Burn the place to the ground. And let's roll, the man said, pulling me out of the barn. We found vans with the logo that I never thought I would see again. Anthropoi Pharmaceuticals. They were waiting for them, some were already leaving with the rescued people. I was pushed into an open van where I found myself next to Killian. He was on a bed and the van's interior looked like an ambulance. Let the others know we got him. It's time to get out of here, the scarred man instructed, then closed the door, leaving me in the van with an unconscious Killian. Part 19. I tried opening the door but failed. I think it could only be unlocked from the outside. Killian started stirring and mumbling words I couldn't understand, so I moved closer to him. His eyes started opening a bit. Lily, you're here, he said, then blinked rapidly as if he was trying to force them to open all the way through. You remember me? That was all I could say, considering I never thought I could ever see him again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nolban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I remember you. I've been looking for you for a long time, he said while furrowing his brows. He looked like he was in pain. You need to The door was open with force and I was pulled out of the van by a bear. I screamed, making Killian struggle to reach me, but failed because he couldn't even move. The bear sniffed me, and when it was satisfied, it put me on his back and started running to the forest. I held onto it for hoping that I wouldn't fall, with my eyes closed the whole time. When he stopped, I opened my eyes and was in front of a burning barn. I was back at the bear's pack. Derek called me, and as if on instinct, I got down from the bear's back and started running towards him. You're okay. Thank goddess. Thank you, Ronan, he said to the bear, then turned and started inspecting me like I was a child. I'm fine, Eric, I said, assuring him. He nodded his head and then pulled me to his chest. Check for any survivors. The sooner we get this done, the better, Eric said to the bear that brought me. It nodded its head and went behind the tree, returning a few minutes later as a man dressed in combat trousers. He was huge. I guess that is the main identifier of bears. Lily. Someone called me during the pack meeting. I turned to where the voice was coming from, and there she was. Sophia. My sister. You know her? Derek asked. Before I could answer, the man who rescued me stood up in front of the crowd and everyone went silent. Good evening. I believe we've all witnessed what hunters can do firsthand tonight, and I want to remind each and every one of you how fortunate we are to have survived yet again. We also thank the Royal Guards for offering a helping hand on such short notice. We are always in your debt. I repeat, if you see anything out of the ordinary, you must report it immediately. You're dismissed, he finished, and people scattered, no doubt returning to their homes. This has been a long night, Derek said, burying his nose in the crook of my neck. That tickles, I said with a giggle, but he didn't care. He went on with his thing. Who was that woman? He asked, making me remember that I saw my sister. My sister, I said shortly. I didn't know if I should be happy to see her or angry. She was alive and didn't even bother looking for me. Did she even try? It was hard to figure it out. Hey, you need me to call for her? Derek asked. Yes, please, I replied, as he pulled me into the Alpha's house. We found the man who rescued me sitting with the most adorable babies I've ever seen. Ronan. Apologies for intruding in your family time. Lily would like to see one of your pack members. It's her sister, Eric said, just when one of the babies crawled to my feet. I picked her up and tickled her tummy, which made her giggle. When my eyes returned to Derek, he had a smile on his face. As for Ronan and the woman next to him, they were just shocked. I figured it was because I took their child without permission. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hold her without your permission. I rushed to defend myself, making them smile. That's not a problem. It's just that she never wants anyone to carry her, and that was her first giggle since she was born, the woman said. To my agent extraordinaire, Lycan Love. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Oh, is that normal? I mean that. I ended there because my eyes met her tiny ones, and she gave me a toothy grin which made my chest warm. Derek came and stood next to me. Natalie has the same effect on children. I guess she just recognized her princess, he said while putting his finger on her tiny hand which she held with another giggle. So, what's your sister's name? Ronan asked as his wife took the baby away, leaving us to speak in the living room. Sophia, I said with a hard swallow. Oh, her. I guess you shared the same past then. Why didn't she leave with you? He asked, sounding curious. What do you mean? I asked, feeling confused. Your sister and her mate came to seek refuge in my pack after the war between the rogue Alpha and Hunters. She claimed that she didn't mean to cause a war. She just wanted the rivalry to end. Her mate was one of the commanders in the rogue pack's army. The most trusted one, might I add. She claimed that when she found out about the experiments on Supernatural, she told her mate, and he instructed her to give them the blueprint along with who was leading the operations. When she did, the rogues attacked the Hunters. Her and her mate fled the war's own, ending up on my border. When he finished, my body was shaking, but I was thankful that Derek was there to keep me calm. Let me call them. He stood up and then went to grab his phone to make the call. I stood up the moment the door opened, and when my eyes fell on her, I rushed towards her and started hitting her with all the strength I could master. She didn't fight back. She just stood there and kept saying she was sorry. Her mate growled at me, extending his claws. I went and stood right in front of him. You want to kill me? Kill me? Your mate already did the moment she told you about anthropoid and left me behind, so finish the job already. I shouted, making his eyes soften. Part 20. Lily. We didn't know that you were in the house until it was too late, he defended, and I wondered if they tried to come for me after knowing was there. The whole room was silent, waiting for me to respond. Did you at least try to come and rescue me? I asked, taking turns looking them in the eyes. They all bowed their heads in shame. So the answer was no. It didn't matter. I'm so sorry. I just wanted it to be over, Sophia said in between sobs. Yeah, I know. And it didn't matter who got hurt in the process. So, Sister of the Year, would you like to know what I went through when all you wanted was for it to be over? I'll tell you anyway. I watched Mum being dissected until she died, and died being killed by the very weapons he created. They made sure it was slow. Oh yes. And I was raped over and over again by the rogue Alpha's feral wolf, landing myself at the hospital each time he did. I think your amazing mate can tell you what a feral wolf is capable of, right? That's not even it. While you were having an amazing time with your mate, mine rejected me because his pack couldn't accept me as their Luna. I was tainted. I was kidnapped after that and kept in the warehouse for God knows how long, as my kidnappers took turns raping me. So pardon me if you're sorry. Doesn't cut it. I fucking hate you, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't have a sister. Derek, I want to leave now, I said, walking out of the room and making sure to push her out of my way aggressively. I got in the first SUV I saw that had the Royal Guards mark. Derek got in right after me and told them to drive away. I could hear Sophia calling my name as we drove away from Ronan's house. It made me even angrier. I wished that all the prayers I made for her to be safe could be taken back, but there was no way that would happen, so I settled for bouncing my leg like a maniac until a hand settled on it. It's going to be okay, little one, he said, and when my eyes met his I found myself believing him. I wondered if Samuel was right and that Derek was different. Hey guys. You look horrible, Natalie said the moment we entered the castle. Thank you, baby mom, Eric said, kissing her temple. It's been a long day. We need a bed, don't we? Derek said, looking down at me. Okay, just don't miss dinner. You know the rules. And, Lily, we're having a baby shower tomorrow and you have to be there. With him, she said, then walked away without waiting for a reply. I swear, she terrifies me sometimes, Derek said, pulling me up the stairs. We got into our room and Eric helped me out of my clothes and then took me to the bathroom where he washed me then himself. I swear his resistance to nudity is not the same as mine. When we entered the closet, he gave me his T-shirt and I watched as his muscles moved all over the place and the tattoos. They were beautiful. "Wanna touch them?" he asked, shocking me back to reality. "Can I?" I asked, and he walked closer until he was right in front of me, then lifted me, putting me on the console that was in the closet. My hands fell on his chest where the biggest tattoo was, and it had the letters RSBR. I ran my fingers through it, which made him purr. "What was that sound?" I asked, and watched his ears go red and his eyes glow. "It's embarrassing to say," he said, closing his eyes as if trying to control how I made him feel. I stopped, and his eyes shot open, startling me because they had a bit of red in them. "Don't stop, please," he pleaded, making me return my hands to his chest, feeling a little bold by running them through his broad shoulders. Most of them were just ancient patterns that didn't interest me as much as the letters did. "What do they stand for?" The letters, I asked, pulling him closer. "It's our names. Derek, that's me. Spike, my Lycan. Brenton, my dragon. And Renzo, my vampire," he explained, making me smile. "At school," I said, biting my lip. I continued my venture when all of a sudden he pulled away. "Derek, did I do something wrong?" I asked, but all he did was pant. "Derek, come here, I can't control them," he said if he was in pain. "Then don't." "I trust you," I said, putting my hand out for him to take. He looked between my eyes and hand a couple of times, then put his hand on mine. I pulled him towards me and then put his face in my hands. I swallowed hard as I got ready to do something that I hadn't done in a while. I linked my lips with his and felt him melt into me, the smell of rainy forest surrounding me as his hands settled on my waist. He groaned into the kiss, making me smile as I deepened it. "Tu es agent extraordinaire, my noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "That felt amazing," he said, giving me a peck on the lips and making me smile. "Feeling better?" I teased, making him laugh. "Fuck yeah," he said, putting me down. "Let's go to bed. I need to sleep, and I think you just gave me a dose that will last a lifetime," he said, walking out of the closet with our fingers interlocked. When we got between the sheets, he spooned me, making sure that I was comfortable. "How does it feel to have all the beasts with you everywhere you go?" I asked, because it didn't stop bugging me. The fact that he was a hybrid. "It's chaotic, but in a good way, because I never get to feel lonely, and when I feel lost, one of them would help me out," he said, while rubbing his nose on my shoulder. "That's nice. Who's your favorite?" I asked with a smile. "I'll never answer that because they'll end up killing each other," he said with a chuckle. "Okay then, I guess I'll have to meet them and find out for myself," I said. "Yes, I think that's the best option," he said, as we both fell asleep. Don't let the story end. Subscribe to continue our Wolfpack legend.